Nowadays, everything is crafted for immediate consumption. In our economy, people can't afford to invest in expensive quality items, so instead we turn to fast fashion that turns gray after 3 washes and needs to be replaced over and over again. Short-form videos and AI provide an addictive instant gratification that we can't get enough of. Microtrends, TikTok shop, influencers telling you run don't walk to get this. Everything is trying to sell you something. I was what you might call a Forever 21 child, comparable to today's Sephora child. Every weekend was spent at the mall with my friends shopping and getting Starbucks, and at that point, shopping was probably my whole personality.
I'm doing a Black Friday haul. First place I went to is Aerie, Forever 21.
I always equated shopping with happiness. Malls were full of people and exciting food, I got to spend time with my friends, and it was the blissful 2014 era. But looking back, I do remember being anxious about spending too much and how I spontaneously bought things I didn't even like and regretted it often. What actually made me happy in these moments was the community that I got to be with my friends and be in a walkable space with lots of people. Now shopping is not something I associate with happiness. The instant gratification of buying something new has worn off. With adulthood has come regret that I didn't start saving at a younger age and that I never developed good spending habits. Every year I write in my New Year's resolutions to develop better spending habits, and every year I fall victim to more consumerism. I had been staying at home doing nothing and it was making me depressed, but because capitalistic society is purposely designed to make you spend money and minimize third spaces, when you go out, there's not much you can do that doesn't require spending money. Regardless, I thought maybe a change of scenery would be helpful for my mental health, and I ended up going out. I went freaking shopping today, left meaning to buy 1, maybe 2 things, and ended up with a lot more. And I'm low-key feeling stressed about how much money I spent over the past 2 days. I'm going to rot at home for the next few days, so there's no chance of me spending money. The first thing I got was a pair of On shoes. I've been having so much back pain from carrying like a tote bag. Crossbody bags are better at distributing weight than like a one-sided bag, so I got this one. And then I realized, girl, that bag's not big enough, because I'm like, oh, I need to carry this big ass tripod when I go certain places, and I got a bigger crossbody bag. I guess I didn't get that much today. The shoes were just like $150, so I felt like about them. After 2 days of mostly shopping, among other things, I was so anxious. And the thing was, it wasn't as if I was spending extravagant sums of money on things I would never use. I had invested in a few things that would last me, and everything else I got was either food or something affordable. But despite the fact that I felt like I had justified all my purchases and had finally gotten the change of scenery I wanted, I kept journaling that I still felt like shit. When I look back on my days out, the highlights had absolutely nothing to do with shopping or consumerism, and everything to do with learning and community. The first was this tiny gallery I had stopped by. I had a nice conversation with the gallery owner and she told me that not many people stop by. She asked me if I had just happened to see the gallery and I said no, I actually came looking for it because I saw it online. That seemed to bring her a lot of joy. My second highlight of the day was the 𝐭𝐢𝐦𝐞 University Museum. It had a free exhibit on the transgender history of Japan, and I absolutely knew I had to go see it when I saw it online, because so often Japan is portrayed as this really strict, traditional gender binary, but there's actually a very long history of gender non-conforming people in Japan, and the idea of gender as only being male and female was actually brought to Japan by Western colonizers in the post-Meiji era. The exhibit was so incredible, and afterwards I walked around the other exhibits they had, and I was so warmed to see that they had an exhibit on Palestinian culture and literature and the importance of the language we use surrounding Palestine. And even when it came to the more materialistic side of things, I found that the things I found the most joy in buying were stuff that were related to the museum exhibit. These are the things I'm most excited about, books. So I went to this museum exhibit and it was like a transgender history of fucking Japan, and it was so fucking awesome. So, you know, after I looked at all that exhibit, I had to go over to the museum store and pick up every book they had on the fucking exhibit because I was like, yes! This one is from the exhibit, so it's like the stuff that's in the exhibit. It has like all the art and all the explanations, and you're not allowed to take pictures of a lot of the art, so I was like, yeah, I need some kind of visual so I can reference this in my studies. A lot of my gender studies education has been in a very Western lens at my Western school. This book is about gender and sexuality, and I am so curious about the Japanese perspective and the history of it, and I'm really excited to read this. It's also going to be a difficult read because I guarantee I don't know most of this vocabulary in here. Oh, I'm growing my critical thinking literature. This is so exciting. These two things out of everything I bought today, these are what I'm most excited about. I wish we lived in a moneyless society, but capitalism is specifically constructed to minimize third spaces and make people pay to do pretty much anything. When I went shopping with my friends earlier in my Japan trip, it wasn't the shopping that made my time with them fun. It was that I got to spend time with my loved ones, and I wasn't going around with an intention to shop. I was going around with the intention to spend quality time with my friends. And currently I'm staying with my grandma in Japan, but I don't have any friends around, and I've been at a loss. If I stay in, I'm depressed, but if I go out, I end up spending money, which makes me anxious. So what's the solution? After my 2 days of going out and shopping, I woke up on Friday morning and decided that I was going to attempt a few things to cheer myself up. I figured some time outside as well as some exercise might be beneficial, so I headed out for a walk. I also thought by putting my new shoes to use, it might reduce some of my anxiety about them. I took off my headphones and it feels very nice to just take in all the nature sounds, and I think I'm gonna walk home without headphones so I can really just enjoy that. I still feel like shit. And I think what I realized on my walk is that I think I'm replacing my lack of community with consumerism. I'm not really alone, but like my grandma doesn't really leave the house, so she's not someone I can go out with, and I enjoy hanging out with her at home. Like all my friends who I would usually hang out with, their winter breaks ended way earlier than mine. None of my friends are still in Tokyo, so I don't really have anyone to hang out with. My cousins who live here are off at college as well in different places, so they're hours away from me and I can't hang out with them either. I was hoping this walk would make me feel better, but maybe I'm just lonely. Going on a walk alone isn't gonna solve my loneliness. You know, I bought these shoes yesterday and I was feeling kind of anxious about them. I mean, for nice running shoes, they weren't very expensive. They're $150, which is pretty decent for running shoes. It was just a lot of money, so I felt anxious about spending that much. They're actually a little too small, and I can't really return them because Japan doesn't do returns like the US does. And they're not bad enough that I can't walk in them, but that's just kind of dampening. I was hoping that going out and using them and putting them to use would make me feel better about my purchase, but they're too small, so not really. Getting out in nature is nice and just noticing stuff. We've gotten so used to cheap existence. I think it is more normal for people to buy multiple cheap things and replace them rather than invest in stuff. And I have this anxiety about spending a lot of money on things, even if it is investing in a wallet that will last me forever, or shoes that are high quality and good for my feet. It just brings me so much anxiety to spend that much money. And I know financially it actually makes more sense. Invest in something rather than buy a bunch of cheap things and replace it. And that's also more wasteful. I'm just so used to this fast fashion culture that it brings me anxiety. While at the park, I decided to do a mindfulness activity by making a list of things I noticed around me. Stripes of sunlight, deep green leaves even in midwinter, a curved tree, ginkgo leaves, birdsong, a bunch of fruit on the ground, and these long acorns. Despite packing light for my trip, I had somehow accumulated a lot of stuff in just a month and a half in Tokyo. So when I got home from my walk, I took out all my clothes, bags, that sort of thing, and decided to sort them out by the items that I had used this trip so far and the items that I hadn't. And after sorting those out, I went through both piles and thought about things that I didn't like that much or that I wasn't reaching for a lot. And I made a bag of clothes and keychains and just sort of little things that I could go donate. And doing that made such a big difference. It reduced my anxiety about stuff. I think a lot about the concept of feng shui, how clutter is often associated with stress, and that is definitely something that I've seen in my own life. So being able to get rid of even just a few things made such a difference. I headed out to the local library after a day of sitting around. I browsed for a bit and then sat down to read a book I had found for a few pages. I've always loved books, so being surrounded by books and seeing everyone make use of the public space was a mood booster. I once heard someone say that if public libraries weren't something that had been around forever, we would not be able to make them today because capitalistic society would refuse to accept an institution that doesn't bring in profit. My filming of this happened to coincide with the Winter Olympics in Milan, and unexpectedly, this is where I found the community I've been craving. My grandma and I have been spending hours watching the Olympics together, and she has really funny commentary, so it's been such an enjoyable activity that came at the perfect time. Here are my parting thoughts. What I realized is that there's 3 things that bring me joy. One is community. I feel that's pretty self-explanatory, but just spending time with people. The second is creating, and I used to have this goal that was like create more, consume less, and it just meant like spend less money on things and make more art, you know? And I think like I find so much joy in any form of creativity, whether that's editing and like making my YouTube videos, writing my substack essays, writing poetry, you know, doodling in my journal. Like there are so many things and creative expressions that I found that I absolutely love. And the third thing is learning. And I guess those are my passions. Like that's my recipe for happiness. But I love to learn, whether that's like even just like reading a book, you know, you're always learning something, even if it's a fictional book. You know, I love to learn new languages. I love to challenge myself. I love to read articles. Like I love to learn. I think like over time I have developed better spending habits. Like I know that if I watch my vlogs, like in my old ones, I am buying way more things. And especially this trip to Japan, I have been trying to be more mindful. And this year I finally made a savings account. And it's like, yes, I know that's super late and I probably should have had that forever ago. But having a savings account has allowed me to like separate my money and always have a backup fund, which is so beneficial to financial anxiety. One of the small rules I have for myself is like only buy stuff as things run out. I have probably like 1 day left of my like face cleanser, so I bought a new one yesterday. I only buy stuff once I'm like either run out of it or on the verge of running out of it. And I recently read something that said women do 80% of like purchasing within the economy. I've just been thinking about like really the power that women have in the economy and how to use that. Like if women are contributing to 80% of the economy, that means women are also the people who are holding up the billionaires and holding up, you know, fast fashion and all these things, and like the influence that women can have in things like BDS, like boycotting. So yeah, your friendly reminder to shop small. I've also been thinking a lot about this idea of replacing stuff. And this is something I'm very guilty of. Instead of like trying to repair things, we often just throw them away and replace them. And I saw this quote once that was like, everything you have ever bought, even if you threw it out, it still exists somewhere on this planet. Like that bag you threw away in 3rd grade, that's in a landfill somewhere because the plastic isn't degradable. That kind of like whacked me in the head. I was like, oh goddamn, like everything I have ever bought is out there somewhere. That just brings me back to my whole thing of wanting to learn how to create, because part of creating and part of learning and those passions I have is also like, you know, learning to repair your clothes. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on this below. I'm kind of just like ranting. And I know like some of this video is very hypocritical / paradoxical. Like I'm talking about how bad consumerism is while showing myself consuming things, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents. So let me know what you guys think of this style of video. Usually I do very much more organic, like vlog styles, but I wanted to try out something that's a little more sort of structured and with a narrative. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah!